another car that only does a one-wheel peel. This one only does a one-wheel peel as well. Passenger side, you can see the rubber on the rear quarter there. So anyways, let's go back over here, out of the wind. What's up everybody, welcome back to the infamous project. A little bit of a different backdrop here today. I'm trying to block a little bit of the wind, and the shitty old shed that's sitting in the back here is kind of the perfect backdrop for, I don't want to call this car a shitbox. It really isn't. It's a Project Fox, and that's what I want to talk a little bit about today, because I've had this car up for about a week now. You know, I've resorted to Marketplace. You know, my favorite place in the world. If you guys haven't seen my video on buying and selling your Fox body on Marketplace, be sure to go check that one out, because today I want to talk about this Project Fox that's sitting right here in behind me, and it isn't really the prettiest sight to look at, but there's a lot of opportunity here. So if you guys had been watching my channel for the past, well, over a year, this was, I think, titled the 4th of July special last year. I picked this car up from a local towing yard, didn't have a title, had to get a bonded title for it. All that got sorted out, and well, I thought I got rid of the car. I thought that my neighbor at my old commercial shop was going to completely redo the car, and he was really excited about it, but things change, and well, things change, plans change. So that's what we're going to talk about today, and why project cars need to be priced properly, otherwise they could end up getting stripped. And to be honest with you guys, that's what I want to talk about, because if this car doesn't sell by this weekend for the money that I'm asking for the car, I'm going to strip it, and I'm about to tell you why. Let me grab my beer here. Got to stay hydrated, folks. Got to stay hydrated. So, 1985, original 505 speed T-Top car, Texas its whole life, and clean Carfax. Really nothing very exciting on the Carfax. Most likely a daily driver for someone. In fact, if you guys saw one of the original videos I did on the car, you would see that it actually had like interior, like home interior carpet in it. And we found some random like tool belts and screws and hardware. Don't know if he was a carpenter or a plumber or whatever he was. There was shit all scattered throughout the car. And I was really excited initially because I was in it for $750 after I'd found the 200 bucks in the glove box. Believe it or not, this car sitting out all those years, all that time, and nobody ever checked the glove box for that envelope that I found 2 crisp $100 bills in. So ultimately I was in the car for 750 bucks, which a project car like this one, and mind you, it's actually nicer now because it's got more primer on it, and what I would say is more opportunity because some things have actually been fixed. Now, I was hoping I was going to be able to get this thing running and driving, and to my surprise, I ended up finding some chunks of metal in the oil pan, which I didn't go any further with. I never took the pan off. In fact, the original motor to the car is still sitting on an engine stand inside, and it was at that point that Bobby the neighbor at my old commercial shop. He's a body guy, and he's like, man, what are you doing with that car? I want it. So I was trying to hook him up. I gave him the motor that came out of the silver 1993 hatch that I parted out. If you guys remember, that was a rollover car. So I knew the compression numbers were good in the motor. And so I hooked him up with that and a couple other tidbits here and there. And ultimately, he's the one that did the work. So he swapped the motor over. When the motor was out, he sprayed some, hot rod chassis black in the engine bay. So, you know, he started prepping and cleaning stuff up here, and everything looks pretty good. And other than the fact that it's super, super dusty, because my old commercial shop area was just that, a dust pit. Frame rails are good. They're clean, no rust down there. And other than a little bit of wiring, getting an air cleaner on there, he was going to do the Phytech kit that I had, and for whatever reason he couldn't get it going. So he's like, screw this, I got a carburetor. So he slapped a carburetor on there. It's got an MSD distributor, the MSD 6A box, and you know, it starts, it runs, it drives, it stops, and in fact it'll even do a burnout, right? We just saw that earlier. We've learned it does a one-wheel peel, so clutches maybe need to get redone in the back here. And you know, the body is pretty solid. Being a Texas car, there's no real rust in the trunk lid area. All of the body panels, quarter panels, like these are all good. Bottom sides of the doors, you know, those are all mint. No rust in the door pillars. I mean, I think I might have gone through all of this, but I'm going to go through it again. Like, don't get me wrong, you got to fix the front bumper cover there. This piece was missing. I had an extra one, so I hooked him up with that. And a lot of the other trim and everything else is just sitting in the back side of the car, because, well, he had it all off because he's going to paint it. Even the fan shroud, all that stuff is here, guys. And another door post that's clean and tidy. Amazingly enough, this dash pad is mint. Like, there's not even a crack in it. And it's an AC car. I know people pay big money for this AC climate control right here. And nothing's hacked up for the radio. It did have an aftermarket radio of sorts. We can see the connector right here. But other than that, you got like your little, what's that called down there? Your idiot lights slash whatever. I know there's a term for that. The tack isn't hooked up. The water temp gauge isn't hooked up. But everything else is there. You got some halo headrests. And you got the T-Top, which is super cool. The only real damage to the car is right here. You know, they did some Bondo or pulling or God knows what they were doing here, but this is the original panel. And it doesn't sound very Bondo-y down here. Maybe a little bit of a surface rust. There was a bit of surface rust on the car, but it is solid overall. And I'm not getting down underneath. I think there was a tear in the floor. The common problem with the driver's side seat, and there might have been a little bit of rust. It is a T-Top car after all, so the important thing is what I just went over, because floor pans aren't that big of a deal, even if it needed them, and I highly doubt it does. You know, your frame rails are good, your door posts are good, your quarter panels are good, all the important metal is good on this car. So why do I want to potentially strip it? Well, I put up a marketplace, 4,500 bucks, and you guys are probably like, well, you're only $750 into it. Like, why are you asking, why are you being so greedy? Well, I'm not being greedy. I put a real nice, or gave up a real nice motor to go in there with the MSD stuff that I just talked about. I gave Bobby a good clutch and flywheel to put into the car. The carburetor that's obviously on it, he had to go through and change all the fluids. So the cooling system's got fresh coolant, fresh oil. All of those things add up. And now it's actually running a fuel pump in the back, so all the mechanical fuel pump stuff is gone. So, you know, there's ease knowing that every time you hit the key, the car is going to start with ease. And then there's time and there's labor behind that. I had to pay Bobby for his time and his labor in order to get this thing back up and running again, because, well, he's not going to do it for free. So let's just say, you know, I want $3,500 out of this thing. And I don't think that that's that unreasonable. You post something up on Marketplace for $4,500. Yeah, you do a little bit of back and forth and negotiation. Taking $3,500, I don't think that that's really bad. And the reason why I refuse to go lower than $3,500 is because, well, I know that that's a good motor. And that motor to me is worth $1,000 to $1,200. knowing that I could either put it in another car or I could post it up and sell it. Then I have a T5 conversion. I know the transmission's good. It shifts through all the gears. There's no grinding, there's no noises. And while a T5 conversion is worth a good $1,500. So right now we're at $2,500. And we haven't even talked about the Mint dash pad I could sell, the cluster, the climate control gauges. I could cut this T-roof off, sell the glass, or sell the roof for somebody that wants to do a T-top conversion. I got a rear end, I got a bunch of metal, I've got all kinds of parts. So, you know, wheels, tires. Not that tires are any good because I was doing burnouts on them, but you guys get the point. And in fact, I haven't confirmed it because I'm too lazy to go underneath the car, but Tom Clark, aka Cinnisbuilt, on the last video, he's like, dude, I think you might have one of those old school Ford Motorsport H-pipes that like everybody wants. I know Bill Butler, who put on the Detroit Motor City Fox Fest show, he loves those things. I thought about going underneath there, pulling it off and putting something else on that I have, but you know what? I just can't be bothered, guys. Time is money, and that is the name of the game ultimately. Now, if I wanted to restore this car, originally when I first got it, and I was into it for $750, you know, the direction that Bobby was going with the car is not the direction that I would have gone with the car. So it's sort of at that point now, I can't undo in a feasible way that makes this car worth my time and efforts. And I've already got my 4i that I need to build. And you know what? It's not that I'm a huge fan of 4i's, just I'm an aero car guy at heart. I have a 4i and one is enough for me. You know what I mean? I know there's people out there that love the 4i, especially the T-Top, 85, last year carburetor. You know, it was a jalapeno red car. I know that some people love the jalapeno red. So this car belongs in the hands of somebody else. Now, was the $4,500 that I was originally asking overpricing this car? I think 100%, absolutely. Even at $3,500, I wouldn't pay $3,500 for this car. And I'm not trying to push myself out of a sale. That I'm just talking me, because I know what my time is worth. I know what it will take. I know paint is expensive. Now, somebody else that wants to, this was their high school car, or there was an 85 or a 4i or a T-top car in the family and they want to relive memories and they're going to do a whole bunch of work themselves, $3,500 is a great deal for this car. Now, I can't go lower on it. I refuse to lose money, and why should I have to lose money at the mercy of somebody else, you know? And the reality is I can get way more money out of this car if I strip it down. So that is the reality. And a lot of guys I know get upset about, you know, us people who strip and who do part outs and everything else. To be honest with you guys, I hate part outs, because you know what? I end up having to go to Marketplace. I don't want to go on Marketplace, guys. So the way that I see it, T5 conversion, no problem. Motor, no problem. Cut the roof off or just sell the shell. I'm sure, I would hope that somebody would pay $500 to $1,000, $500 for a shell, $1,000 for a roller, I would hope. If not, then yeah, the roof gets cut off and the car goes for scrap. You know, as sad to say as it is, it would. You could pull the doors off because technically they're T-top doors, which really doesn't mean anything. You're better off just pulling the glass out of them, and you know what I mean? They're manual. It's not like there's even power options in there. The taillight lenses, they're okay. I guess these could be polished up. They really don't look like they're cracked or anything. So, you know, the taillights, somebody could restore those, or you just pay and get a set of aftermarket ones. I think that's really about it, guys. Like, I don't really have much more to say about this thing other than just sharing my opinion. Now again, if you know anybody wants to look a little closer, bolster's gone. The halos, you know, they got some weather cracking and stuff, but all the parts are in here. It's not that bad. And you know, like, if we put this in neutral, oh, actually neutral safety works on this thing. Ooh. It's unbelievable that neutral safety works. Like, watch. know, bump the key, idles away. You know, it needs some tuning and everything else, but guys, I drove it home. I put like 10 miles on this car and I probably hit 70, 75. Pretty much buried the speedometer, to be honest, and drove straight and did everything that it needs to do. Would I trust these tires in a long road trip? Absolutely not. And not having a working temperature gauge with these 100-degree temperatures, that's something else to consider for sure. But there you have it, guys. I just wanted to share a quick video with you. What the fate of this car is going to be, I don't know. Maybe I should in fact throw this video up in hopes that somebody wants to bring me 3,500 big ones in cash. I am not going a penny less on it, and for all the reasons that I explained before. And ultimately, this is why cars end up getting parted and potentially crushed and not available anymore. And typically this isn't something that I don't want to do. Like, I'll buy a parts car that I know that it's fate, like it's messed up beyond, like it's truly a ship box, like what the ship box should have been. Although me and Gary decided to, you know, put all our time and effort into it. And guys, that's a video for another day, because we have 400 hours of combined labor into that car. So just do the math on the labor alone, let alone our personal investments, and then what people donated and what sponsors contributed and everything else to that car. Like, that's an expensive ass car now. So yeah, keep that in mind. But this guy here, is there some opportunity for it? 100%. I believe in being fair and honest with what I'm trying to sell. Again, you know, I would love to got 4,500 for it, or 4,000, but at the end of the day, $3,500 all day long. That's it. Buy it for the parts, strip it down, make a couple bucks, or buy it for the car and put it back together, because ultimately that's what it needs to happen to this diamond in the rough. And you know what? If you guys wondering what else might be for sale right now, all of these, I hate stuff laying around. Honestly, if it takes up space and it looks ugly, like, to me, it's just depreciating property value. Like this parts car here, like I had to put a cover over it just because it was driving me nuts. And don't mind the cardboard, we're in a burn ban here. Normally I'm burning my cardboard. So, and all the metal stuff that's laying out here ultimately is going to go in this car. This car's going to go to scrap. We can't save this car, guys. It's cut up, it's beyond, this one's beyond saving at this stage. However, I got a lovely banana or a lemon or whatever else of a yellow reference that someone might want to say that this car is. 93 feature car. Top is actually, there's a little rip right there, unfortunately, in here, but the rest of the top actually isn't bad. Mako grade paint job. There's a couple runs, and we have overspray and a whole bunch of other stuff on this one. I don't know if I actually did a feature video on this or not, but black interior, and it's all pretty much there. Driver's seat needs some love. Pony headrest actually has the convertible top liner, and this is all stuff that I could be stealing out of the car that's worth money, you know. Top liners are hard to come by, 93 only sort of deal. Black interior, the needle in a haystack. Rear plastics in here, probably the hardest black interior part to find for a fox body, if you ask me. And you bet you, if these are better than what's in my stock or vert, I'm swapping them out first. So that way everybody wins. I get a few things off the car, some other people get some things off the car. And again, the paint's not great, but it's driver quality. It's got this sexy stripe up the hood here, and everything. This is bone stock, guys. Air silencer is gone. That's about it. The AC works, the heat works, the under hood light works. And the only thing, all the VIN numbers and panels match except for driver's side fender and front bumper cover. They tried to do some work here. They didn't even rivet on the bumper cover to the header panel. They tried to fiberglass the header panel back together. So I started messing around with it just to see what it would take, and it doesn't take much, or it won't take much. I've got that stuff if somebody is interested. Chrome ponies are still on the car. There's no rust on it, and it's a nice little driver. So 7,000 bucks. If somebody wants this, I believe there was someone on my live stream that was like, I want that yellow car. Whoever you were, because somebody said it was in the comments and I couldn't find the comments when I went back through. So if somebody wants this, or that person that watched, 7,000, come and take it away, put it in drive and just cruise. Put the top does go down. The rear windows, those stay up though. So you have to do the regulator fix and everything else back there. But there you have it, guys. Two super, call them cheap, reasonably cheap Fox bodies that you can get your hands on. One you can drive them both. Take them both, 10 grand. There you go. Just drive this one home and throw that one on a trailer, or try your luck with that one. I really don't care. But there you have it. Till next time, we'll see you here on the Infamous Project.